Hello fellow engineers and welcome to Plague Inc. So today's video is a warning to you at home, oblivious to the imminent danger to our way of life. Because this little blob here, this is the start of a horrid disease that threatens to take over and destroy the world. Yes, when you look under a microscope, this is what architecture looks like. So today in Plague Inc, I will be playing the role of architecture. And yes, I know it's not going to be easy for me, but I do need to show you the dangers of what could happen if we let architecture take over the world. So to start off, we got to select our starting location. Now being British, I'm going to select Britain, because not only is it the country I know most about, obviously, but because it's an island, it's sort of like the through point for the world. Like everyone sort of travels either via us or we travel everywhere. So I think it'll be a good place to start spreading architecture. So architecture has infected its first human. It's weak, obviously. And basically we've got to evolve this disease. By clicking on those little things, we get disease points in the bottom left. So look, you can see Scotland has been infected. There's now 4 people infected with architecture, and it's spread to Northern Ireland as well. We can zoom in. Oh dear, there's 5 people infected already. If we click these, we get more points. And then bottom left, if we click this button, we can see how architecture is getting on. Yes, you can see it is simple. It's a very simple disease at the moment. But I will be using bioengineering to make it more complex, which is the worst case situation in the real world. So on the top right, we got these tabs, and we can spend our DNA points to tweak the virus. And my sort of aim here, I think I want to like sort of infect the world before I make it dangerous, because I feel like if people know how dangerous architecture is, then they'll just rise up and destroy it instantly. So in these symptoms, I'm not actually going to add any symptoms for a little while. I think I'm going to start in the abilities. If I come to this one, this is drug resistance. So if I spend my 11 DNA points on that, you can see it's resistant to class 1 and 2 antibiotics, which basically means it won't be as cured as easily. So we've done that, and as you can see here, you have successfully evolved architecture. Oh, it hurts my engineering insides, but remember, I'm just trying to teach you all a lesson. This isn't me actually helping architecture. It's a simulation. Anyway, we've just been told architecture has begun to spread. It's spreading from person to person in the UK and will grow exponentially. These are dark and dangerous times. There's 48 people infected, but it hasn't spread anywhere. So let's go back into our DNA menu, and I'm going to go into transmission. I feel like perhaps because we're on an island, perhaps it's better to evolve the bird side. So basically this will make birds carriers of the virus. So I need 12 DNA points. So let's just save up for that by clicking those and just simulating. There we go, we've got 13 points. So I'm going to evolve the bird, and then that might start spreading the disease across the world. Yes, just been told architecture has infected hundreds in the UK. It's horrible. It is horrible. Although, as I'm a southerner, I've noticed we're not infected. It's only the northerners. It's only the Scots and the northerners. Although I'm sure it won't be long until the southerners are infected, and then it will go all across Europe and the world. Right, we got more points to spend. I might come up to this one, which is bacterial resilience, which basically means it protects you against all climates. So that means as we move to other countries, it should be better. I mean, maybe that's why it's stuck in the north, because it's slightly colder up north, a bit warmer down south. Here, oh look, we've infected thousands of people, 6,500 people. In terms of the world though, that is a small number compared to the 7 billion in the world, and you'll notice architecture has not been noticed. What a lovely world we live in. This is how the world needs to stay. We can't let architecture take over. But yeah, if you zoom out, you'll notice, ooh, we've spread architecture to Central America. So if we pop that little bubble there, that spreads it a little bit further, and we've got a load more points. And oh no, America is getting some architecture over there. It's not good. It is not a good look, guys. And the numbers are flying up. We have 69,000 people infected. Nice. Oh, and it's mutated on its own. So I didn't do this. Basically, sometimes in this game, the virus will just mutate on its own, and it's developed a rash symptom. So if we go into the symptoms, this is the rash one. As you'd expect with architects, their skin becomes blistered and painful, which slightly increases infectivity, which is quite good, actually. I do want it to spread a bit more, but I don't want to add too many symptoms for the moment. I want to go under the radar. So I think we're going to do some more bacterial resilience so we can survive more climates, because we are in the UK and Central America, very different climates. Let's just make sure we're good everywhere. And the good thing is, the more countries we spread to, the more chance there are of spreading to other countries, because they've all got ports and airports and all sorts. Oh look, the UK is infected. They've just sent a plane to the USA is now infected, and Iceland. Yeah, architecture is infecting more countries. This is not good. good. Europe's got some as well. It's just gone to Spain. It's now more infectious than TB. Architecture is a very infectious disease. So you can see in here we've infected 15 million. Thankfully, it's still a very low number. I think I want that. I want to spread to every country and then get really infected. I know as soon as people sort of realize that it's infectious, they'll start closing the ports, closing their borders, all that sort of stuff, right? We got 19 points. If I click on those two, we got 21 points. Let's do the next level of bird flu. Let's evolve that. So now birds are really going to start moving architecture about. Yeah, look, it's in Australia, it's in Japan. Africa's got some architecture. Oh, I feel so bad spreading architecture about the world. But we got another 13 points. I'll tell you what, I feel like it might be worth doing this one, because if this disease gets too infectious, the Earth will start trying to research to find a cure. So if I do this one, this just slows it down. It decreases future research speed. So I think that's a good investment. And oh no, architecture's just evolved. It's developed a coughing symptom on its own. So I feel like people will start to spot. Yes, here we go. Look, a doctor in the UK found a new disease which has been named architecture. Oh, I love this. I love this. It appears to be mostly harmless, but must be investigated further. Other countries are also reporting this disease. Yeah, so we've got to be careful. The doctors are investigating architecture now. Oh, look at all these points to collect. Yummy, yummy, yummy. In most corners of the world now, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to go back into here. I think in transmission, I might do this one. So this means fresh water will spread the disease. And as you can see, that's especially bad in humid environments and ship transmission. So let's evolve that. And then perhaps we'll do the third bacterial resilience as well, because then every climate is doomed. So you can see we have now infected 69 million people nearly. There we go. Nice. That is a nice number. If we click on the world, that's 1% of the entire world. You can see on the left here, these are all the countries that are infected. Oh, there's way more countries infected than not infected. But of course, because this disease isn't dangerous yet, there's been no deaths. Particularly useful when you're trying to go under the radar like I am. Right, wow, architecture is now more infectious than HIV. I mean, look at the UK. It's completely red. In fact, looking at this, despite the UK being open for business as usual, everyone in the population, the entire UK is infected with architecture. And look, it's already started. Look at that building, the Gherkin. Who thought that was a good idea? Who thought that was a good idea? Oh wow, and architecture has mutated and developed the sweating symptom. That is quite dangerous. And even more dangerous, the UK has started work on a cure. Thankfully, it is expected to take a long time because they haven't got much funding. I feel like if people were being killed by this disease, the funding would be higher. So we've got to try and keep this a fairly safe disease for now. Now let's spend points on genetic hardening, which slows down the research speed, and then also genetic reshuffle. So any work they've done will be futile. More work will be needed to develop a cure. Right, and then we just let this run for a bit longer. We're slowly infecting the world. I mean, look at the Scandinavian countries. They are getting blasted, and the world has reacted by using new sterilization air filters on their planes. I mean, look at North America. That's quite impressive. What percentage is infected? 69%. Nice. Oh wow, look at Europe and Asia. That is crazy. China is half infected, although they're still open business as usual. They're not too worried, even though architecture has infected more people in the world than the common cold. I think I'm gonna spread it even more. We're gonna make sure we can survive chemically treated water, which would be very good for ship transmission. And I might make rodents carry the disease as well. Oh, wow, we've infected 3 billion people in the world. That's 42% of the entire population. Architecture is spreading fast. Oh wow, you can see we've infected every single country. Every single country now has architecture. It is a horrible place. Thankfully, Africa's done all right. They're sort of shielding themselves a bit. There are a few countries. Is that Egypt? Yeah, Egypt is being infected big time. 62% of Egyptians have architecture, which now has the symptom of insomnia. So no sleeping for a lot of the world right now. Meanwhile, I'm going to make sure we're resistant to class 3 and 4 antibiotics. And then I might think about a symptom or two. I feel like cysts is a good representation of architecture. Painful lumps containing pockets of pathogen. Slight chance of bursting, which can lead to disease. Yeah, let's do that. Let's evolve that. It's only 2 points. Oh, look at the world. We've infected 5.5 billion people with architecture. This is how quickly it happens. Now, bottom right as well, that 3%, that's how close the world is to creating a cure. Now, thankfully, although the whole world is infected, there aren't really many symptoms, so it's not that dangerous. Of the 6.5 billion people that are infected, none have died from it. You might think, well, Matt, what's the problem with architecture spreading throughout the world like this? Well, the trouble is when architecture changes. You get used to a certain type of architecture in your country, then all of a sudden, curved glass walls, overhanging beams, and then you got abscesses growing out your anus. You get paranoid, so you won't go to the doctor, and just thinking about maths makes you nauseous. Now, the French have been quite good here. They've shut down their airports to try and limit the spread of architecture. Obviously, they don't have access to this map. They don't realize it's already too late. 97% of the world have architecture. Yes, architecture is global. But yeah, I feel like with 49 points, now is probably the time to start getting serious. So if we go to our symptoms, we're going to try and be realistic here. So when I think architects, do I think skin lesions? Yes, I do. We'll have some of that. Do I think tumors? Yes, architects must have brain tumors. And in the past, have architects given me seizures? Most definitely. So we'll evolve that as well. And then we might start to see our first death. Yes, here we go. The first death happened in Morocco. Was it bad luck or is it the beginning of something terrible? Well, looking at the death figures, they are flying up. 84,000, 100. Oh man, it is bad. Now the world has realized their mistake. They let architecture into their lives. Thankfully, the entire world is developing a cure for architecture. Are they going to be able to though? If I come into abilities and I give myself a genetic reshuffle, then look, the cure is being developed very slowly. There's 40 million dead already. This happened in days. We've killed more than the Black Death, and the last healthy person on the planet, which I can only assume was an engineer, has now been infected with architecture. There are no healthy people left in the world. Everyone is infected, and I feel like it's just a matter of time until death takes them. I think one of the final symptoms of architecture is insanity. You start to believe that the glass walls are fine, that buildings should look like this. No, it's because you've been infected. You're going insane. So yeah, the world is a mess now. It's absolutely infected. The planes and stuff are not flying anymore, and although the cure for architecture is 25% complete, the amount of deaths is flying up. 130 million. Normal life in the Baltic states is beginning to break down due to architecture. This is what happens. One country at a time, they'll all go mental, and architecture has now killed more than the Spanish flu. Now, thankfully, architecture has been placed on the Hugh watch list. The world knows how dangerous it is now, but I have a feeling it might be too late. Despite the Germans' best efforts, deaths are flying. 200 million. They're sending planes, and I have to try and pop these bubbles to keep it back. So look, they're going to South America to research, but pop. Sorry, Germans, not this time. Oh, wow, and the cure for architecture has actually turned out to be lethal. The researchers say the setback will damage cure efforts. That is what happens with architecture. You let it in and you're in trouble. Right, the cure is actually 50% complete. I'm a little bit scared actually. That's quite high. I don't have any points that I can spend at the moment, so I think we're just going to have to try and kill everyone before they cure the world, which means popping these pesky bubbles. Right, so the new stats show that architecture is the deadliest plague ever. It's killed more than smallpox. So 8% of the world has died to architecture. Although the world is fighting back, 65% of their way to a cure. Though despite access to the best drugs, the USA president has been taken ill. That is what happens with architecture. Oh, and at the moment, the Tokyo Olympics are still going ahead, despite 17% of the world population dying. How is Japan doing, actually? 22% of the Japanese have died, yet they're still going to do the Olympics. Oh yeah, in the US, they've selected a new president already, because the original one has fallen victim to architecture. I'm a bit worried about the cure though. They're 84% of the way there. Oh look, there's actually been a cure thanks to Applesoft, the new eye cure. So I think humans did come together, the engineers of the world. Despite being infected, I think they have come up with a cure. It's about to be released when that hits 100%. And oh no, the US has threatened China. They think China deliberately released architecture as a weapon. He's sworn to take revenge. It's alright, the cure is finished. It's being deployed worldwide. Oh wow, look at the bar. Look at the bar. 20% of people are now cured of architecture. And just like that, only a very small amount of people are infected still. Has the world done it? I'm glad this story has a happy ending. Architecture to be eradicated. The world has survived a devastating plague and will soon eradicate architecture forever. Although much of the world is dead, we can rebuild rebuild. Architecture has been eradicated. Yes, guys, of course I wasn't going to let architecture take over the world, but this should be a warning. We mustn't let it happen. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will say peace, love, and architecture. Catch you guys next time. Bye.